everyone, in this video we're going to show you how to submit a request for time off, a request for PTO, and we're going to do it using the ADP time clock, and then we will also show you how to do it using the ADP Vantage system, the full web application, which you can access either using a kiosk if there's one in your location, or if you happen to use a personal computer for work, you can access it there as well. So this is the home screen of the time clock, and so we're going to just click on Request Time Off, and then we're going to enter our employee ID as found on our pay stub, and we click Enter. And then we're going to click Time Off Request, and we're actually going to submit request. That's our action. So we're going to take a look at the start date of our request. It's going to bring up a calendar, and we're using November 2017 as an example. And I'd like to take next Tuesday off. So I'm going to choose the 28th. And because I only want to take one day off, my start date and my end date is in fact the 28th. Next, what's going to come up is our pay code. And you might have noticed this on some of the previous screens with some numbers and then a description. The numbers are really just a code. So you always want to click on the description that you want, okay? So in this example, I want 2 floating holiday. That doesn't mean 2 floating holidays. It just means that 2 is the code. So I'm going to select floating holiday, and it's just going to give me a review. My start date's the 28th, my end date's the 28th, and I'm requesting, it says 2, but that's our code, floating holiday. So I'm going to select continue. Now, it's important to note that when you are submitting a request for just a day, you actually have to use the hours option. This duration will give you full day, half day, or hours. But if it's just a day, you want to use the hours to make sure it's nice and clean. If you're requesting 3 days off, for example, in a row, you can use full days. Okay, so again, it's giving us a review of our dates, our code, and the fact that we want to request this using hours, not 2 hours, but because that's the code. We're going to select continue, and then it's going to ask us, okay, well, what's the start time of our PTO request? And that's going to be based on your schedule. So for me, I work 8 a.m. That's the start of my shift. And so it's defaulted to a.m. because I'm actually submitting this request in the a.m. So I'm going to click enter. And then it's going to ask for the length. Okay, so it's asking for the start time and then the length. And I work a full 8-hour shift, so I'm going to request 8 hours. I'm going to click enter, and then it's going to give me one final review before I click submit. So it's looking at the start date, the end date, the pay code, it's looking at the start time, and then the duration and how I want to define that in terms of hours or full day. So I'm going to click submit, and I know my request was successfully submitted because I got the green light and then the check, okay? And then that will then go to my manager, who based on scheduling and operational needs will determine whether or not they can request or deny the PTO request. And the other thing to always be mindful of is your accrual balances, which you can view over here, selecting view accruals, entering your employee ID, and then selecting the date for which you'd like to see your accruals. So I'm going to select the 28th, that's the day. And I see that I've got plenty of time in my different buckets, my sick, vacation, floating holiday, and personal buckets, so that I can use some paid time off. I'm going to go back to the home by hitting the home button, and it brings me back right here. In the next video, again, we will show you how to submit using the kiosk in the next portion of this video. Thanks, everyone. Hi everyone, in this video we are going to show you how to submit a request for paid time off, or PTO, from the main Vantage login. So as you can see, I've logged into ADP Vantage, and I'm going to navigate over to myself. I'm going to scroll down to time and attendance, and then I'm going to click over into time workspace. And then once the page has loaded, it will show my schedule for the current pay period. And then there's a little calendar, and to the right of the little calendar, you're going to click on the icon, and then you're going to click on pop out. And once you click on pop out, you're getting a different view of your schedule. And then you have an option right here in the upper portion to request time off. So this is where I submit a request for time off. So I am going to click on the date. Okay, if I'm looking for a date range, I click on the date range. And then I'm going to take a look at the paid time off entitlements that may be available to me. So in this particular circumstance, I'm going to request vacation. And for the duration, I've got the option to pick a full day, a half day, or to specify hours. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to specify hours, okay? And when I do that, it's going to request the start time of my PTO. So I start my work at 8 a.m., so I'm going to put 8A. And then the length of time of my PTO, I'd like for 4 hours. Okay, so just sort of half a day for an appointment. I'm going to click 4, and then I'm going to click submit. After you click submit, your PTO request will automatically be sent through the system to your manager to approve based on scheduling requirements. And once your PTO request is either approved or denied, you will receive notification through the system. So that's how you submit a PTO request on the full Vantage view. Thank you, and hopefully this video has been helpful.